If you struggle with midday brain fog, chronic anxiety, or mental burnout, you aren't alone. We live in an era of constant cognitive fatigue, and it feels like our minds are simply wearing down under the pressure. For a long time, we viewed the adult human brain exactly like this, a static physical object. The assumption was that once you reached adulthood, your brain hit its peak, and from there, it faced a slow, inevitable decline. But modern neuroscience shows us a completely different reality. The brain is highly plastic. It continuously changes shape and function based on how you use it, behaving like a muscle that you can deliberately grow and strengthen. Physical movement, specifically aerobic exercise, acts as a primary mechanical trigger for this biological shift. When you understand this mechanism, the purpose of exercise changes. It serves as a primary intervention for mental burnout, distinct from goals for physical aesthetics. The chemical changes start the very first moment your heart rate rises during a workout. As you start breathing heavier and pumping more blood, a distinct reaction occurs in your head. Researchers describe it as a neurotransmitter bubble bath. A single session of exercise immediately floods your brain with dopamine, serotonin, and noradrenaline, the specific chemicals responsible for regulating your mood and overall sense of well-being. This chemical flood acts as a biological reset. It actively dampens the fight-or-flight stress response in your nervous system, physically reducing the built-up muscle tension and physical symptoms of anxiety. The primary anatomical target for this chemical shift is your prefrontal cortex, the area located directly behind your forehead. As electrical activity surges here, you experience immediate functional upgrades. Your ability to focus sharpens, your attention span lengthens, and your reaction times drop. And these peak cognitive enhancements don't vanish the moment you stop sweating. Studies show these specific improvements in focus last for at least 2 hours after you finish your session. A single workout provides a chemical intervention that allows your brain to perform at a higher cognitive baseline for the rest of the day. Short-term chemical boosts are only the beginning. With regular aerobic exercise, the brain initiates permanent structural renovations. The initial proof of this came from a neuroanatomist named Dr. Marion Diamond, who pioneered the concept of environmental enrichment using laboratory rats. She placed one group of adult rats in what she called the Disney World of rat cages, an enriched environment full of toys and wheels. She compared them to a control group raised in a sterile shoebox with plenty of food, but no physical stimulation. The assumption at the time was that adult rat brains were fixed and wouldn't show any physical differences. But when Dr. Diamond examined them, the results proved otherwise. The rats living in the active environment literally grew their brains. The outer litter, the cortex, became physically thicker, packed with new synaptic connections. This provided the first empirical proof that physical activity forces the adult brain to build new physical mass and neural infrastructure. This structural growth happens in humans too. Deep inside the temporal lobe is the seahorse-shaped hippocampus. During aerobic exercise, the brain releases a protein called BDNF. BDNF triggers neurogenesis, the birth of new brain cells, which integrate into existing neural networks. A physically larger, cell-dense hippocampus has massive advantages. Your capacity for long-term memory retention increases, and your ability to learn and encode new information gets faster. The hippocampus links past memories to future concepts. Its physical growth directly increases your capacity for imagination and creativity. Consistent physical movement builds the mass and density of these networks, enhancing your ability to generate novel ideas and solutions. When we stretch this timeline over an entire lifespan, we hit the most critical benefit of all. As we age, our brains face the inevitable threat of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. This chart shows the rate of cognitive decline over decades, comparing a sedentary lifestyle to an active one. A reinforced prefrontal cortex and an enlarged hippocampus act as a physical buffer. Exercise forces these diseases to take much longer to actually degrade your cognitive function. To build this structural shield, the clinical prescription is straightforward. Aim for 3 to 4 exercise sessions a week, with a minimum of 30 minutes per session. And it needs to be aerobic. You have to get your heart rate up. You do not need to become an extreme athlete. Power walking around your neighborhood, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or even doing vigorous house cleaning is enough to start the process. Even outside of full workouts, you can use daily habits to calm your nervous system. A 10-minute walk can lower depression metrics. Taking 3 deep, slow breaths triggers your parasympathetic nervous system to shut down stress. Even ending your morning shower with cold water spikes adrenaline to wake up your brain.